This is Mindustry PvP on the Eviction server. This particular game is a good demonstration of the free-for-all setup of teams and how that can play a difference in the outcomes. Sort of feeds into the randomness that gives any particular player a chance of winning games. So the hex that I've got opening up has one exit to the right. And looking at the map there, I see that Oleja has spawned 2 hexes away. So this is a knife fight. I absolutely need to take that hex right there and hold it from him. Otherwise, I'm going to be sort of trapped in the corner here. The third player in the game, Manfrompi, is on the opposite side of the map and alone. So there's 2 major concerns going on here. I have to win the fist fight with Oleja, and then I have to catch up to the undelayed, unfettered expansion that Manfrompi is going to be able to do on the other side of the map. And that leads to sort of the strategic decision that you have to make here, where either do I try to kill Oleja as fast as possible, or do I just try to seal him off and expand around him? One of the game mode features is the invite command and team ups. So if you eliminate another player, they go to the fallen team. You then have the option of inviting them, and they are on your team. You're going to be careful who you invite, because if it's a loser or a noob or something, then they might very well mess you up. But if it's a good player, then suddenly 2 good players worth of attention versus 1 is a giant advantage. But you have to do all the work of completely killing them instead of just sort of crippling them or sealing them away from you. Okay, so the fight for the hex over there, I pulled out on purpose because I don't want to lose extra daggers against those daggers. But now that I have a numbers advantage, then I can go in and actually take the hex myself. So my build order is also a little modified to deal with this. I want extra power, and I want to be saving my silicon because I need this defensive structure to hold off any additional daggers it'll send. And the extra power is to actually run those lancers, because something you can accidentally do pretty easily is put up too much electricity defense and run yourself out of power. And with this last steam gen, and I'll be able to finish that lancer soon, then I will be safe from his daggers, and his only option would be to go to air or expand in the other direction. And seeing the junction wall that he put in that will prevent his daggers from heading in my direction, he's choosing to expand outward. So that seems good to me. I'm free to expand south, and that's going to head off and do. My thorium was pretty delayed through all of that, so it's going to take me longer to get to air blast drills. So I'm sort of puttering on low silicon for a little while, and all my timings are going to be bad. I'm going to be behind for whatever future fight comes along as Manfrompi booms up. Another reason to choose to keep Oleja around instead of working to eliminate him quickly is he's like a buffer state between me and Manfrompi. An extra distraction that could possibly slow him down while I do my own expansion and economy building. And those scatters are in case Oleja chooses to go for air. So now I am safe until very large amounts of units or T3 units come in this direction. Yeah, usually I don't go for a second mechanical drill silicon, but yeah, it's, with the thorium being late, then that's what you got to do. But now I do have enough for an air blast, and I'm probably going to start going for the larger silicon factories, because I need to start mass producing ground units to actually do the expansion to the south and give myself space to work with. I need to frequently check what Oleja is doing, and it's easier because he's closer, so that's less panning time to actually go see. If he prepares an attack in my direction, I need to see it as soon as possible. And that might either be rallying units, or putting up factories, or even putting up more significant defense here than just that junction wall. Like, it is probably a mistake to have put nothing there for defense. Okay. First power plant. So this is the start of making a play to actually set Oleja back. I'm going to quickly pump out some daggers and then send them to the north, and since there's still no significant defense, and that's where his nucleus is, so that's also going to send him back if something kills his player unit. He's going to end up with the bad one respawning for him. More silicon to power those daggers, and off they go. So they'll go through those junctions easily. And I don't need to pay attention to that. What I need is the actual economy coming up. Like, we're not super behind, but we're pretty behind. Try to level off at 3 of those triple silicon factories and 3 graphite factories. And that's pretty stable for both. Ooh, good news. So we broke through, we got the nucleus out, took out a chunk of his economy. I don't feel the need to actually press further here. That's enough setback that I'm probably safe with a little bit of defense. Make sure it's got some ground, make sure it's got some walls, make sure it'll have some scatters. And then I want all those daggers to go back to expansion towards the south. So as far as I'm concerned, I have won the knife fight enough that I can start looking east and worrying about that. Two of those, one more, and then we'll be done with this phase. I'm also going to need to go to my medium power plant. Yeah, there. Things are still safe up here. No armies massing to worry about. Manfro's got an amount of expansion, and he's now coming into contact with Oleja. So they are successfully keeping each other occupied and leaving me be. Next thing I need is my polymono pulsar factory. And I see that I've got enough expansion in between that gap to the east that I can go over there and start actually trying to build up a bit of a defensive wall. And that'll give me an opening to start also pushing on Manfro while I head south too. All right, Platinum's coming in. So we'll start leading over there. That was the wrong thing to build because I don't have the Platinum Bank to actually finish those cyclones. Probably should have gone for the fuse and salvo piece. But now the dagger line has killed off enough stuff that they're choosing to come in this direction. And this here is also to put more pressure on the Manfrompi hex that is to the upper right corner of that little fortification. And with that taken care of, I'm going to head to my large power plant phase. So I want this thing down. I want a phase factory. I need to get to Surge, but I'm choosing other things instead of Surge repeatedly. So there is a sort of phase shift in the game that potentially happens, and I need to be checking the map frequently to look out for that. If Manfro breaks Oleja, or if he surrenders, or if that gets resolved, then suddenly there's a big power vacuum there, and I need to be ready to head into it when it opens up. And that may be taking over the space as it opens up, or the invite. So that is a setback, that loss there. The dagger's coming around at the bottom, and before I had the cyclones finished. These daggers will take that back quickly. He's paying attention elsewhere, so he can't build into that. There's probably a risk to be putting this economy here, but in many ways it is more efficient to put your economy closer to the front because it's where you're spending your time. Flying back and forth time is wasted. Okay, here's the Surge. You need more Titan. That's probably the next thing that I'm definitely going to have to put up. He's trying to fight for that one. But the overdrive dagger factory, nine factories, that would hopefully be too much to keep him off. I'm betting that that's going to be enough and that I can do things elsewhere for the time being. And it looks like it's working out. But I do need to go over there and rebuild some of the actual line, just to make sure this stays a bit more secure. There's not enough polys. These back and forth are costing me polys. I need to put up a bigger poly factory. Well, that's going to keep happening in this game, that I'm repeatedly underpowered as far as polys are concerned. And the flares heading into this factory are gonna drain my surge over time, so I'm also gonna need to work on getting a better surge factory, or get one under a dome, but I'm not gonna be able to build the dome until I build up a surplus, so that's gonna have to be worked on. More polys. Let's have them. I think I'm setting up that I want a dome over there. All right, big silicon factory. So I sealed off my dagger approach because it's a waste to just put them into that group of arcs. If they're going south, they're also going to do turns for expansion and heading around whatever's... Okay, Oleja's out. So I removed the junction wall there because I want that 4-dagger factory to start taking these hexes. And I need stronger defense in this direction. So the power vacuum is there, and I need to start working on it. Now my memory of the hex there is that it's just got arcs, so sending some flares there will do good. There are now zeniths coming, so the only effective barriers are going to be bolstered forts. If it's the 2 cyclones, it's going to need a set of stall walls in front of it, or the bigger one with the tsunamis. I also want to send in flares from a different angle to maybe get some opportunity, waste some ammo, whatever. Invite me. So that's a big danger to me, is that I did not kill Oleja. Manfrompi did. So now he has the claim to invite him onto his team. And he's going to do so, and now it's going to be 2 players against 1. It's not always fatal in that case. If you're way ahead on economy, then having an extra player or being down a player doesn't hurt. But if you're even-handed and now a team can, say, split roles between military and economy, or someone's building forts while they're doing... You can cover a lot more ground, and that's gonna put me at a development disadvantage. So I need enough defense here to slow down an attack from breaking through and give me enough time to expand around the south. Like, maybe I can turn the corner. Did a power check there and found that things were low. So time for another power plant. My poly population is not great. I'd like to have a big swarm by this point, but this is at least enough to get regular buildings down at a decent speed. My surge is still quite depleted. Silicon should recover after dropping that or turning that extra factory back on. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. And with my dagger factories heading into his defenses, they're not doing expansion. So I will need some more unit factories in this direction that are closer to open space than to enemy forts. And I'm low silicon. So I'm choosing to go for the 6 smelter all air blasts. In my schematic library, I've got one of my schematics is designed to use up just an entire patch of coal by 4 smelters and 2 graphite presses. And the thing about the ratios there is you don't need any extra sand beyond a single air blast. But it ends up outputting a mixed belt. So the belt coming out has to be titanium. You can't be platinum, because if it's platinum, then the 2 different types of stuff will jam. And for that reason, there's no reason to ever put phase into the overdrive that comes with it. But with the 3 air blast silicon only, then you can platinum belt that and you can phase overdrive it. So if it's easy to put 2 of those together, then a rush phase factory fed to both of them works out pretty well. And you end up with 12 smelters running on phase. So the opposing line of units isn't coming. That means he's stopped and he's rallying, and I already know he's got Zenith, so I'm going to start seeing Zenith masses hitting me. And those need much bigger forts than what I've got prepared so far. Yeah, it looks like an attack to the north that didn't quite do anything, since I did leave behind a sizable defense up there. And I'm low on platinum also. Yeah, let's finish the pair of those silicons. Hopefully build up enough surge that I can get the dome down there. Shouldn't have taken the overdrive off that platinum factory yet. I am also out of silicon, so I do have options there where, like, say the flares are low effectiveness, so I can turn those off. But it's stupid what I'm doing there to switch them to some other resource that I have some, so now that's clogged internally and can't be readily turned back on without doing construction things. Shouldn't do that. Both of those will boost up nicely, and I do have some surge surplus coming in, so I can start to finish domes. But Oleja's going to start putting up real forts on the other side, and it's going to make all of this dagger stuff a lot less effective. It's already not right heading into Lancer arcs. I'd much rather have it wrapping around. Those forts are more dangerous. I need to tech up my unit production. But I'm also behind. I don't really have the economy banked out to do that either. So I'm falling behind. There are more things that need to be done than I can do at a time. I need more economy to power better units, and I need to keep topping off my defenses because there's going to be massed zenith attacks coming in. I need enough Titan to actually feed these surge factories. I do finally have a handle on the surge surplus. And I need some kind of attacks coming in and distracting them. Like, these are solved on their end. They don't need to worry about them. Yeah. And the mass attacks start coming in. Not ready for that. It would have been really, yeah. I'm also at risk because I don't have a closer nucleus set up. So when my player unit goes down, I'm going all the way to the upper corner of the map. He's clearly also starting to outproduce me on the zeniths. If he can make zenith attacks of that size every couple minutes, then he'll just be able to churn through whatever defenses I put up. And he's able to build back through them pretty easily. So take space, fortify it, move forward a bit more. I'm trying to get these done before I actually run out of titanium. There's the next attack, so that'll also get through. And each one of these attacks, I'm also losing significant poly population, which is not coming through quickly. Like, I've got, what, four mono factories worth of poly production, and I don't think I boosted the extra one that I put down. So that's, like, here I am building with basically no polys, and the polys I do have are going to end up preoccupied building if the dagger stream recaptures something. Like there. This poly factory would be under a dome, so that'll help if I actually get to building. That zenith factory, well, I don't have time to finish. And that's also, that's like 90 seconds worth of building that I don't have without polys, of which I have like 3. I also choose bad orderings to rebuild this stuff. So I'm worried about the attack coming in, but clearly they're being rallied north. So I need to go see what's up there. But I'm making sure that this is at least functional before I leave. So that's a dangerous spot. There's not enough buffer walls protecting from that amount. Death and respawn loses me 10 or 15 seconds. It would be hope that the dagger stream suddenly coming through there would be able to prevent the fortification into it. But he pulled the Zenith away. That makes it a little more likely to work. But no, it's not happening. So there is a void gap of 2 hexes to the north of this position. The normal thing that you would want is you don't want any power plants in these hexes nearby because someone could be stopped there and attack over it. You want them to go to the forts instead. But he's got he's wiggling back and forth between attack and rally in a way that nudges them to the left. And as soon as they get far enough that they actually have in their sight some kind of target in the places where I do have buildings, even if it's not power plants, then they actually edge in. So that gutting out is pretty much the end of me. I don't have enough unit production to actually recapture into this. I didn't put down any internal defenses. The game is over. I got outproduced by the 2 of them working together. I really should have tried to focus down Oleja first and take him onto my team. That would have worked out better. But I went with the other way. So it turned into a gunfight, but I was left holding the knife from the first battle. And I never quite got the expansion built up enough to overcome that.